this vehicle. The thermostat is located down here, but it's somewhat hard to get to. You can access it down here if you choose to try to finagle your hands in there. But in this video, we're gonna take all these components out. It's not that hard and it doesn't take that long just to access it so that you can see it better and it's physically easier to access. Disconnect the battery. We wanna disconnect the negative terminal. It's in the trunk. There is a cover here. The cover is already off. You just wanna pull that out. Use a 10mm socket and slide that off and out of the way. I'm gonna pull these covers off. There's a clip right there, clip on the other side. It slides right off. This cover right here is gonna slide off. Disconnect the connectors for this PCM. It's the computer. And just push down on that terminal and ratchet this over. Just wiggle this off back and forth. We'll do the same on this side. Push down on that, slide it out. And grab the PCM and slide it right up, put it in a safe place. Disconnect these two connectors right here. Just take a straight blade screwdriver, push down on the tab in the front. You just want to push that in, slide that up, set those to the side. Do the same on this one. Remove this stud right here, use a 10mm socket. And take the two power wires off and set those to the side. We're going to loosen all these screws up. Use a 7mm socket. Good. Now the whole fuse box is going to come up. You just need to get underneath here, just use a pocket screwdriver. Pull the clips off. And it's clipped in on the other side as well. Pop those off. And in the back. And slide it up and out. And if there's connectors still connected, you want to disconnect those. You might have to unscrew the screws a little bit more. Slide that out of the way. Now grab all these connectors and just slide them out of the way. Pull them out of the cover. Just like that. If you have a screw that's on here or a nut, you want to take that off right now. That's good. Move this hose out of the way. Some more. Let's see, where's this clipped in? There is some wires that are connected to the box. You just want to use a trim tool. Pull those wires off. There's two bolts right here. Loosen those up. Use a 13mm socket. You don't have to take those out completely. They are slotted. Grab the housing. Just slide it up. Slide it over the bolts. You can slide it out. Underneath the radiator on the passenger side, there is a drain on this vehicle. Some vehicles may not have this, so I'm just going to put a drain bucket underneath and loosen this drain plug right here. You don't have to take it out completely, you just got to loosen it. This one's pretty tight. Normally you don't need to use pliers, but just loosening it up. You want to make sure the vehicle is not hot when you're doing this. And I'm going to take the cap off, then the coolant's going to drain a lot faster. I'm going to use a 10mm socket and take the 2 bolts out on top. Just grab the housing, slide it up. You're going to lose a little coolant, so you might want a bucket underneath. And you can grab the thermostat. You might need some pliers. And just grab the thermostat, pull the twist, and pull it out. Now before you put the new one in, just take a scraper or a wire brush. I'm just trying to get some of the corrosion out of here. You can take a rag and some brake parts cleaner and clean that up a little. And same with the back side of the housing here. Tip this up. Just get any of that gasket material off. That should be good. Take the thermostat, take a new gasket. You want to slide the thermostat into the groove of the gasket. All right, that's all the way around. Now we're going to install it into the housing. Slide the thermostat in place. Make sure that the spring goes down. The spring's going to go down and the other part goes up. Should look like that. That's all the way in. Now put the top part of the housing on. Take the 2 bolts, get those both started. Now tighten these down. And getting a torque wrench in there and torquing these bolts to 89 inch-pounds. All right, good. Now the coolant drain at the bottom of the radiator, you want to close that up. You should be able to just do it with your fingers, but if you need to use some pliers, just snug that up so it stops dripping. Now take this bracket, slide it in position. Line up the bolts down below and line up this up here. You want to route some of the wires the way they came. And before we do any more, if you have the retainer that holds that down, you'll put that on, and then we'll tighten those bolts down. Snug those down. Now all the wiring harnesses, I'm going to move those back in position. This one's going to come around here. Sit right there. Going to go around here. That goes to the computer. Those and those. Alright, so those are all in position. You want to make sure those are all pushed down so that when we put the fuse box on, it's all lined up. Now take the fuse box. It's going to go this way. Line that up. Push it down. Should lock in place. And then also we're going to tighten all these bolts up. As you tighten these up, that's going to bring the connector in and tighten it to the case, to the fuse box. So just snug these down, not too tight. Now take the electrical connectors, get those lined up, plug those in, right there and right there. Then these wires right here are going to go on this stud. And put the nut on. Get that snug down and snug that down. Make sure it's fully clipped in. That looks good. Take that hose, make sure that goes in that position. And put the cover on. And lock it down. Now we can slide the computer back in this bracket and connect the connectors. Lock down the ratchet, do the same on this one. And put this cover over. Now connect the battery, the negative terminal, line that up, push that down, and snug up the nut. Just grab it, give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight. Now we want to add the appropriate coolant. After it's up to the full line, you want to start the vehicle and run it for about 10 minutes. While that's happening, make sure the engine is not overheating and make sure the coolant is not bubbling out or too low. Shut the vehicle down, let it cool down. Once the vehicle is cooled, check and adjust the coolant level and you should be good to go.